right, we have finally entered the final team on the all-time NFL teams playlist. This entire series has been great. Just looking at all the different teams, how they've stacked up against each other. I'm not gonna do any standings or nothing. You just gotta decide who is the best team out there. Who do you think would win it all? Who's a surprise team? Like, that's on you. We're gonna look at the last team, and that is the Washington Redskins. Obviously, the Washington Redskins have a lot of controversy just by the name the Redskins. I do believe that it is racist, and I do believe that they should get rid of the name. But I don't know when they will, or if they ever will. Now, the Washington Redskins were established July 9th, 1932, 85 years ago. Practically 85 years ago. Almost about to be 86 years in 7 days. Their first season was 1932. They play in FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland. They are headquartered in Innova Sports Performance Center at Redskins Park in Ashburn, Virginia. Training camp is in Richmond, Virginia. Now, they've been a part of the National Football League since 1932. They were in the Eastern Division from 1933 to 1949, the American Conference from 1950 to 1952, and the Eastern Conference from 1953 to 1969. Most importantly, inside that Eastern Conference, they were the Capital Division from 1967 to 1969. They moved to the NFC and have been the NFC since 1970, and in the NFC East since 1970. Their team colors are burgundy and gold. They do have a fight song named Hail to the Redskins. The owner is Daniel Snyder, President Bruce Allen, and the head coach Jay Gruden. The team history, they've been the Boston Braves from 1932. They went to the Boston Redskins from 1933 to 1936, and ever since 1937 have been the Washington Redskins. Team nicknames, the Skins, are burgundy and gold. They have won a total of 5 league championships. 2 of them, the NFL championships before the AFL-NFL merger before the Super Bowl happened. They won in 1937 and in 1942, and they've won 3 Super Bowl championships, 1982, 1987, and 1991. They've won 5 NFC Conference championships, 1972, 1982, 1983, 1987, and 1991. They have won 14 division titles in the NFL East, 1936, 1937, 1940, 1942, 1943, and 1945. In the NFC East, in 1972, 1983, 1984, 1987, 1991, 1999, 2012, and 2015. And they've been in the playoffs 24 times. 1936, 1937, 1940, 1942, 1943, 1945, 1971 to 1974, 1976, 1982 to 1984, 1986, 1987, 1990 to 1992, 1999, 2005, 2007, 2012, and 2015. Their home fields have been Braves Field in 1932, moved to Fenway Park from 1933 to 1936, moved to Griffith Stadium from 1936-7 to 1960, moved to RFK Stadium from 1961 to 1986, and have been in the FedEx Field since 1997. This team has some pretty good history, but this team also has history where they just haven't been that great these past, I would say in the 2000s era, just in general, right? They're looking for an identity. They still have a lot to work on. Their off season, we'll see how it goes this year. They still have a lot to work on still. But the Redskins are a franchise, and they have won more Super Bowls than many other teams. So as much as you want to nag on how bad they are, they do have more Super Bowls than some of the guys, even the most recent champions, the Philadelphia Eagles. But here it goes, the Redskins all-time team. Like every segment, we're starting off with the quarterback. The quarterback will be Joe Theismann. Joe Theismann has played for the Washington Redskins, getting drafted in 1971 by the Miami Dolphins, getting traded to the Redskins, and playing on that Redskins team from the age of 25 all the way to the age of 36. What we learned is he can play the QB position. He started 124 games and he played in 167. His record as a QB was 77 and 47. He completed 2,044 passes for a completion percentage of 56.7. He had over 25,000 passing yards, 160 passing touchdowns, with 138 interceptions. He also had a rating of 77.4, getting sacked 340 times. He still managed to get 18 fourth quarter comebacks and 22 game-winning drives. He was the man when the Redskins won in 1981-1982 season. And he played in 10 postseason games, 8 of them starting, 6-2 overall record. Had 128 completions for a 60.7 completion percentage. Over 1,700 passing yards, 11 touchdowns, and 7 picks. He also had 1 fourth quarter comeback and 2 game-winning drives with a 91.4 rating. This is pretty much a Hall of Fame player. He's in the Hall of Fame, of course, but a lot of people will kind of say that did he earn it? He doesn't have the stats of today's day. Of course, I understand. I'm so sorry. He's not a Hall of Famer. See, the entire time I thought he was a Hall of Famer. Not a Hall of Famer, but a decent quarterback in the 80s and early 90s. Okay, cool. Now, pretty much, he's a first-team All-Pro, though. He's been to the Pro Bowl twice. He's won an MVP. He's been the AP Offensive Player of the Year. He's been the Walter Payton Man of the Year, and he's been the Burt Bell Award winner. So, he must have done something right. And overall, it seems like that's the case. Overall, just a fantastic player. And Joe Theismann, just tip your hat to him. He'll be the QB of the Redskins. In case you're wondering, we are having a fullback and a running back for this team. The fullback is going to be none other than John Riggins. John Riggins is a Hall of Famer that's also on the New York Jets all-time team, so that's pretty cool to see him on here as well. Now, for John Riggins, he was a big part of those Redskins Super Bowl victories, for real, or at least one of them at least. But he played in 175 games, and he started 159. He ran the ball 2,900 plus times. He had 11,000 plus rushing yards for 104 rushing touchdowns. He also had 250 receptions for 2,000 plus receiving yards and 12 receiving touchdowns. Fumbled 58 times in 14 years. Not too bad. In the playoffs, he also was good. Well, pretty great actually. 9 games that he played and started, he ran it 251 times for 996 yards and 12 rushing touchdowns. He also had 6 receptions for 45 yards and 0 fumbles. This is a guy that's a Hall of Famer, so of course you're going to see more of, spectacularness and greatness. But he's also a first-team All-Pro. He's a Pro Bowler. He's won the AP Comeback Player of the Year. He's won the Super Bowl MVP in 1982. He won the 1983 NFL Burt Bell Award. And he's also part of that second-team All-1980s over there. So overall, this is John Riggins at his best. He is a fantastic football player, and most importantly, he is the Redskins fullback. Running back, Clinton Portis. Clinton Portis is a 2-time Pro Bowler, played for that very, very elusive and very well-known school, the U, Miami. And he's also the 2002 AP Offensive Rookie of the Year. Now, should he be possibly known for a Hall of Famer? I think he should be put in the ballot. We'll have to actually see his individual stats. I'm not going to do that right now, but do I believe that he could be? He could be. I don't think he's a first ballot, but he definitely could be. Now, Clinton Portis played in 113 games and started 108 of them. Ran the ball over 2,200 times. Had over 9,000 rushing yards, almost 10,000. Had 75 career rushing touchdowns. He also had 247 receptions for 2,018 yards and 5 receiving touchdowns, with 26 fumbles. In the playoffs, for the playoffs that he played in 4, he started in 4, ran the ball 70 times, got 214 yards for a touchdown, and he also got 8 receptions for 44 yards, and a fumble. Overall, no, not much experience in the playoffs, but he also played in teams that weren't great. Again, 2-time Pro Bowler, Offensive Rookie of the Year, and he was the 2002 NFL All-Rookie Team. What do I expect? I expect Clinton Portis to be like himself, He's a fast guy, and he can do willy-nilly things. So I don't expect Clinton Portis to bring me down. I think him with John Riggins paired up is a great back duo. Now at the wide receiver position, we're going to have Santana Moss. Now Santana Moss is a Pro Bowler. One-time Pro Bowler, which is kind of weird because he had some fantastic years that I think he should have landed there, but he was also a slot guy. We're going to turn him into a actual receiver down the line. I think he's going to be paired up with a Hall of Famer. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but he's a Hall of Famer. But Santana Moss is one of these guys that put in a lot of hard work, and I think he should be put up for the Hall of Fame. Not first ballot, but definitely put up. He played in 196 games, 97. He started 135. He caught 732 passes for 10,000 plus receiving yards and 66 receiving touchdowns. He also ran the ball 51 times for 287 yards and fumbled 25 times. In the playoffs, he played in 9 games, started in 5, had 36 receptions for 446 yards and 4 touchdowns. He also had 4 rushes for 44 yards and 1 fumble. Overall, a great kick returner, of course. A great, fasty, speedy guy when you need him. And if he has the right quarterback, aka Joe Theismann, I think Santana Moss and him will be quite alright. Now, not much accolades and not much playoff experience, but all I could say is that he's a speedy guy and he's going to get it done. And another guy from the U that will definitely get it done. So Santana Moss, believe in him. I really think he's going to do well. Now, paired up with Moss is, like I said, he's a Hall of Famer. Art Monk. Art Monk was a 3-time Pro Bowler and an All-Pro, and he was also a 3-time Super Bowl champion. First ballot guy. A guy that played 224 games, starting 194 of them. He had 940 receptions for 12,000 plus yards and 68 receiving touchdowns. He also had 63 rushes for 332 yards and 13 fumbles. In the playoffs, when it came down to it, he had 15 games that he played and 14 that he started. He had 69 receptions for 1,062 receiving yards and 7 touchdowns, as well as 6 rushes for 17 yards and no fumbles. This is a guy that's reliable, very reliable, and Joe Theismann knows him, and Art Monk him will be fine. Randy Moss and him will be fine. Really good offense. A low-key scary offense, actually. It's going to be effective. He's a 1980 NFL rookie team, 3 Pro Bowls, and an All-Pro, like I said. Overall, Art Monk, he's going to do his thing. And Joe Theismann, I'm sure, is going to be jumping for joy having him and Moss. The tight end will be none other than Jerry Smith, a 2-time Pro Bowler, as well as an All-Pro. A guy that was drafted in 1965 and played in 1977 until he was 34 years old. He played in 168 games, started 134 of them. Had 421 receptions for over 5,000 yards and 60 receiving touchdowns, 8 rushes for 56 yards, and 5 fumbles within that career. In the playoffs, he played in 7, started in 5, had 7 receptions for 108 yards and 1 touchdown, as well as 1 rush for 6 yards. Nothing spectacular. Again, tight ends were not well known at this time, though. So overall, he was top 10 4 years in a row. Not 4 years in a row, but 4 seasons where he was just top 10 in receptions. So honestly, he did very well in the 60s for the time, and I think he's going to do well now. He's a big guy, so I really do believe that him on this team will fit very well. Joe will just have to kind of get used to him, but so will he with Santana Moss. But I do believe this offense can do great things, and I do believe that they can put up points. For the first offensive line, tackle Joe Jacobi, a guy that's been on the ballot for the Hall of Fame, hasn't got in, but he will, because his entire influence on this line of the Redskins was very impactful. Him with Russ Grimm, and we can go down the line of what they had, but they were a great offensive line. You couldn't get past them. Joe Jacobi, gigantic man, and also a 4-time Pro Bowler and a 2-time All-Pro, and he won 3 Super Bowls. So, that doesn't take the cake for you. I don't know what will. He had 170 games played, and 148 of them he started. His pretty much his value's fantastic. He's a part of that all 1980s team, and like I said, he's an All-Pro and a Pro Bowler, and also helped win the Redskins 3 Super Bowls. So a good anchor, a large tackle, and exactly what you need to cover Joe Theismann's butt. So now next to him is his fellow lineman buddy and a Hall of Fame guard that played with him in Russ Grimm. Russ Grimm is, well, he's a Hall of Famer. He knows what he's doing. Played 140 games, started 114 of them. Played with the Redskins from 1981 to 1991. And, in the playoffs, played 19 games, started 11 of them. Very big reason of them winning 3 Super Bowls. So, also part of that all 1980s team. He's a 4-time Pro Bowler and is a 3-time first-team All-Pro. He's a guy that you want. He's a guy that you need. And him with Joe Jacobi, yeah, that's pretty scary. With the center position, we're going to have Len Hoss. Len Hoss is a 5-time Pro Bowler that played with the Redskins from 1964 to 1977. He played in 196 games and started in 194 of them. Again, a 5-time Pro Bowler that really got not much recognition, but a guy that's going to be an anchor for you, and he's going to do super well on the line. So having Len Hoss along with those 2 other guys, pretty gnarly. Now for the right side, Mark May is the first guy at the guard position. He's a 2-time Super Bowl champion and a 1-time Pro Bowler. Played for the Redskins from 1981 to 1989, and then played, with San Diego from 1991 to 1993. But overall, a guy that played many years, 159 games that he played, 142 of them starting, and a Pro Bowler once. But also an anchor that won 2 Super Bowls with the Redskins. So overall, experience is what you need. Experience what this line gives you. And yeah, it's a pretty darn good line. Last but not least, we got the tackle Chris Samuels. A guy that's another big tackle. So they have 2 big tackles. He's also a 6-time Pro Bowler that got drafted in 2000 and played with the Redskins till 2009, which was his entire career. Overall, he played in 141 games. He started in 141 games. He was also part of the 2000 NFL rookie team. He was very reliable for this team. He's also an Alabama native and went to Alabama. Again, great college, came into the pros, and was a great pro player. This is a line that's not going to be messed with much. This is a line that's also huge, and I really do believe that this offensive line is going to give Joe a lot of time.